Hey, welcome to Between the Ears Baseball Podcast. I'm your host, Curtis Pelche, mental performance coach. Here we're bringing on coaches, players, scouts, baseball people to talk baseball. Their views and experience in recruiting, player development, and mental performance. If you're playing pro ball, college, high school, or just a parent trying to manage the matrix of travel ball, this podcast is for you. Here we go. Rataczek. Eric is a Minnesota native. Eric just had a phenomenal year at Niagara University. He hit the portal. He's now committed to Tennessee. Eric's got a great story. Eric went to school. He's a biology guy. A couple junior colleges. Went down to San Diego. In this whole process, found out he has type 1 diabetes. And it's just a real cool story. Eric's currently playing in the MLB Draft League, getting ready for the draft. So could be a big week for this kid, changing his life. But again, a really cool story. A kid who has persevered, has been humbled, and has worked his way through. Here we go. Eric, how do you say your last name, dude?
Rataczek.
Rataczak.
Yeah.
Rataczak or Rataczek?
Check, like writing a check. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Eric Rataczak. Okay, cool, man. What's up? How we doing, Eric?
Dude, not bad. Just stress levels higher than they've ever been in my life with the draft coming up and decision time and everything. But other than that,
Yeah.
good.
It's super cool to get you. It's super cool to get you on right before the draft. It's I think you got quite the story. I mean, this came out of nowhere. How do you know Travis? How do you know Travis Rogers?
So Travis, I'm from Minnesota, and the summer or the year after my freshman year of college, I took a gap year because it was during COVID, and played for the post grad team that plays out of the Great Lakes baseball facility in Woodbury, Minnesota.
Okay.
And he is very tied in with that facility. Both of his kids play there, and he was a coach there. And so I've seen him around the facility. He's helped coach me a little bit. I've coached with him with the youth kids on a few occasions, and then more than anything, he's just been
Resource.
Sports mentalist resource, big time for me. I've gone to him pretty much every step since I've known him. Over just it could be 8 months since I've talked to him last, and I'll shoot him a text and he'll get right back to me with some great advice. Yeah,
absolutely. Hey, can I ask you to do one thing? Can I ask you to put your phone in landscape?
Yeah.
Cool.
Just like that.
Yeah, just like that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah. It should. Hold on. We can edit this.
I got my lock thing on here.
Oh, there you go. Did it work?
I mean, does it look you sideways, but does it look good on your end or no?
No, you're sideways. Is it on the lock?
No, I just undid it.
Let's try it again here.
Unless there's like a lock on the app that I don't know about.
No, I don't think so. If not, that's fine, dude. It's all good. If not, yeah, just put it the other way. That's all good.
Nope, that's no video. Okay.
Yeah, you're fine. No, you're fine. Just tightening it up. So yeah, mental performance side. So did you go to him a lot? Did you go to him? Obviously, let's get into your story first. I mean, Travis, he kind of said, "Hey, I got this guy here. He signed with Tennessee. You think he'd be a good guest? Diagnosed type 1 diabetes, COVID. Like, what are you, like an 8th year junior? What's going on?"
Yeah, dude, exactly. My compliance is a nightmare. I feel bad for whoever has to deal with this.
I can imagine. So walk me through it, if you don't mind. Walk me through from high school, like senior in high school. What's going on?
Yeah, so senior in high school, I mean, baseball's been everything that I've been passionate about for. I mean, I'd say it really started like, I don't know, man, like 6th, 7th grade. Even from then, I was like wanted to do it more than anything else. Wanted to work at it, and like, dude, I was never the best player. Like I was around the top mix, I guess, for my high school team, but I wasn't like the standout best player or anything. I think I had 8 career homers in high school, maybe 6,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
I was a catcher back then, a tall, skinny catcher. I was the
Okay.
same height I am now, but I was
How
like,
tall are you?
I'm 6'3",
Okay.
but dude, I was like 165, 170 coming
Yeah.
out of high school.
Gears falling off you. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And so I get to college. Well, so I have pretty much like no offers out of high school, like D3 options,
Yeah.
And I like, dude, I wanted nothing less than to go to the same small school that everyone from my high school went to and do basically a fifth year of high school, sixth year of high school,
Yeah.
and not move out of town, not broaden my horizons at all. Like
Yeah.
I wanted to go somewhere and do something. And so none of those were going to be a fit for me in any capacity. And so I ended up, touring a few other schools just as a student and, wanted to go somewhere out of town and ended up with a good academic scholarship and accepted into University of San Diego.
Cool.
And that place is beautiful, man. Like if you have
Yeah.
the option to go there and it's a fit, it's hard to say no.
Coming out of Minnesota, man. I mean, that's what I
Yeah,
tell kids. I mean, I'm up in Victoria, BC, up in Canada, and I'm always like, go somewhere hot. Just go somewhere hot. Doesn't
dude.
matter. Just go somewhere hot.
I felt like it was kind of a vain decision at the time because a lot of the schools I
No.
had in my list were somewhere warm. Dude, best criteria I ever used to decide
100%.
something.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I talked to a lot of guys who played in California in the JUCO league there, and they could take ground balls in November on the field.
Dude,
I mean,
yeah,
you can't do
yeah,
that here. You can't do
yeah,
that in
yeah,
Minnesota, Canada, North,
yeah.
Seattle, Portland, anything like that.
Dude, it makes a difference and it shows in the players that come out of the respective places.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But so yeah, so I went to San Diego as a student, unaffiliated with the program.
Mm-hmm.
Played club baseball. I, tried as best I could to get a walk-on tryout, but they weren't looking for guys, I guess.
Okay.
So never got the tryout. And then the the Christmas break, winter break, whatever, in between um, those freshman semesters is when I found out that I was diabetic. I got diagnosed with type 1. The whole, in and out of the hospital for a month, 2 months, whatever. Um, and once I got on the right medication, got insulin, got my blood sugar levels in check.
You got that thing. You got that thing planted on your arm.
Yeah, it's not on my arm anymore. It's not on my hip.
Okay. Cool.
I kind of rotate it around sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes you see it on my arm, sometimes you won't.
Yeah.
Um, I got the pump here. Dude,
Cool.
my host family guy, he's got a parrot. He's got like a full on like sit on your shoulder, this big parrot, and it was just squawking over there. So hopefully we didn't make him mad.
Just bring him in.
Dude, he's got a parrot, snakes, 2 of the biggest dogs I've ever seen, like 6 cats.
You got
Yeah,
quite the painting behind you
it's
too.
a zoo. Yeah, dude, it's a wild.
So
He's
for
never
everybody, listening right now, where are you in the country?
Williamsport, Pennsylvania.
Okay, playing in the draft league.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're at a host family, and
Yep.
you
Yep.
roll in. You don't know. You could get anything. You get a basement suite. You could get a $6 million house. You don't know.
Yeah.
You get a camper van, right? It's just a roll of the dice, and I know this better than anybody. So you again, like we talked about earlier, it's a story. You got these stories.
Exactly.
So as long as you can get some sleep, as long as there's food, you're probably not there a ton.
Right. Yeah. Bed and a shower, and not even a shower if the lock's got one. So
Exactly. Okay, so type 1, figured that out. Hospital. You're in San Diego.
Yeah. So diagnosed. Well, even before I get back to San Diego, I gained 20 pounds. I think I was diagnosed right around New Year's. And between that and the time we went back to school, which was like January 27th, San Diego's got a long break, so it was like the end of January.
What year is this?
This is like 19 to 20, the New Year's between 19 and 20,
Yeah.
So mostly January of 20.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I gained like 20 pounds that month. Like
Mm-hmm.
because I was in and out of the doctor's office, and every time they'd weigh you, and every
Mm-hmm.
time I'd be like up a little weight, and I'm like, okay, it doesn't mean really anything. But then by the end of the month, my mom's like, you're finally gaining weight. Like you've always wanted, get bigger. In high school, I lifted all the time, man. It never got any bigger.
Were you lifting at all though when you're gaining this weight, or was it just like
Dude, yeah, it's funny, man. Like not at first initially, because like that first week was just like crazy, like figuring things out, like no time to do any of that stuff. And I still
Mm-hmm.
kind of felt crappy from the symptoms of before I
Yep.
got on the treatment. But then once I saw like that undeniable increase in weight, I'm like, I should start lifting, man, because
Yeah.
like if it's, if we're in an anabolic state at all right now, let's help it out.
Let's go, man.
Um,
Yeah, I get it.
so I did start lifting like halfway through there. And then once I got back to school, I was locked in on it, man. I was lifting as well as I ever had before, like
Cool.
staying consistent with it. You'll see that I'm a big believer in not doing anything crazy, but doing things really well every day and not missing days. And it adds up, and you overtake the people who try and do, something crazy 3 days a week and something stupid 1 day a week.
Do a little bit a lot, baby. That's my motto.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, like gained the 20 pounds there, and then consistently throughout the next, 2 years, the weight steadily increased. I'm at about 215 right now, and I've kind of um, plateaued there. But I mean, I think I could fill out even more still.
Can you run? Like,
But
what's your speed like?
not good, man. And it was never good.
Yeah.
So like I've always been believe like, my player type is to generate power and to
Yeah.
drive the ball.
Yeah.
So like I was never fast initially, so gaining the weight and slowing down has never been a concern because there's not
Yeah.
much to slow down in the first
Yeah.
place.
So when you
Uh,
say you're not, when you say, you humbly say you're not fast, what's your 60 time? Like,
like 7'4", I think. Like
okay.
it's
Okay.
yeah, it's a first
Yeah.
base of 70 or
Yeah.
60.
Yeah. 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 I mean, you can go first to third when you need to,
Yeah,
kind of
and
thing.
you
Yeah.
run the bases smart, you can play a lot
Yep.
faster than you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think, dude, like, whatever happens in the next week, or next year, the developmental stuff is going to be light years ahead of anything I've had before. And
Oh
I
yeah.
think I think my arm and my legs both, you get them cleaned up, and I should have the build that would make sense that they could both be tools. So I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to it.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah, we're second semester of freshman year there, so I play club ball the second half as well, but we only play like 3 games because COVID hits,
Gotcha.
like right around spring break. Um, During those 3 games, or 2 series, whatever it was, I remember I hit a ball at UCSD's field that I mishit it, I got under it, and spun out over the right field fence. And I was like, every home run I've ever hit in my life has had to be an absolute perfect barrel, perfect launch.
Okay.
Like this is different, like the ball's
Yeah.
coming off different when I hit it.
Yeah.
Um, and so that was exciting. And then we all go home, and get shut down for quarantine and everything. Everyone's home. The teams are home. The
Yep.
students are home. Everybody in the world's home. And then, so, I'm basically just like, me and my buddy from back home, high school friends are basically just going out and throwing 5 days a week, and he's throwing live some days to me when I can hit. It's basically just like, sandlot baseball for
Mm-hmm.
however long quarantine lasts there. And then played in the men's league that summer. And um, then after that next year, I decided to take the year off. I take a gap year because the tuition for USD would have been the same, and I wouldn't have even left my house. And I was like, that's not what I'm paying
Yeah.
USD's
Yeah. Yeah.
tuition
Yeah.
for.
Gotcha.
So I took the year off, and then on top of it too, there's diabetes, and at the time, like one of the big complications, everyone was like, "Oh, it's COVID," and like if you're diabetic, you're at more risk, whatever.
Yep.
And then like just being new to treating all that stuff in the first place, like it did me well to have a little bit of time at home to get that stuff really figured out before I went and lived on my own with it.
Mm-hmm.
Because most people that get diagnosed, there are a lot of late diagnoses out there, but most of the time when it's type 1, you figure that stuff out when you're high school or before, and you're living at home and everything.
What
So it was
was?
good for me.
Can I ask, like,
Yeah.
what was the cause? Like, where did this come from? Do they
Dude,
know?
nobody knows. It's really interesting because like it's labeled as a hereditary disease.
Mm-hmm.
No one in my family at any part of the family tree has had it as far back as I could track, which is like 4 generations. Extended family, nothing,
And you dove into that, I assume.
Yeah, a little
Yeah.
bit,
Okay.
but so then as a biology major, I have, pretty much asked all the like immunology professors and everything. Like, I've always been like, hey, like,
Yeah.
I'm diabetic, And so there is this, like, there are some new theories about certain viruses that can man, I'm testing myself on the actual causation and the mechanistic actions of them, but I think they somehow label the beta cells in your pancreas that are the malfunctioning cells with type 1 diabetes. They label them or no, they shoot, how does it work? I can't remember. Somehow they induce your immune system to attack those cells because it is an autoimmune disease.
Yeah.
But so essentially, I, sound like Niagara should probably take my degree away from me right now with how much I'm blundering the explanation. But essentially, there is some research that pretty strongly suggests that type 1 could be onset could be caused by some viruses or things like that. So no one really knows entirely for sure, which
Mm-hmm.
is interesting to me. But yeah, anyways, I've got it now, and it gives my kids a better chance at having it. But
Well,
it's not,
has it made you lock in a little bit more?
dude, with the health stuff, yeah, and that's one
Yeah.
of the things that hopefully, as I continue to play and continue to go up the levels, and the reach gets wider. That's one of
Mm-hmm.
the things that I hope I can illuminate for people.
Yeah.
Dude, the type 1 diabetics I know are beasts. They're not, and take myself out of it. Like, dude, you look at the people in the game of baseball, you got Mason Miller with the A's right now, who's
Mm-hmm.
debatably the best pitcher in the
Mm-hmm.
world.
Mm-hmm.
You got Adam Duvall, who's been a big leaguer for as long as I can remember watching baseball.
Yeah.
Um, you got Jaime Ferrer, for FSU, who is a stud and had a big showing in the College World Series this year. Um, I mean, the list goes on. The one other kid in high school that I remember who had type 1 diabetes, man, he was more of a bodybuilder, but he was jacked, dude. Like
Yeah.
the thing about it is that you have to be tapped in on your health, because if you're not, you like have serious complications. And so the routines, the the attention to detail on that kind of stuff is what helps keep your blood sugar steady. Like when I change my routines, my levels are all over the place. It's when I'm sleeping consistently, when I have a similar activity level throughout the entire day, every day, is when it makes the biggest impact on the diabetic stuff. And one of the big things for that, man, is like weekends, wake up at the same time, go to bed at the same
Yeah.
time. Like,
Yeah.
it's not glamorous, but like it's all about staying in.
Success isn't glamorous, man. The road to success is not glamorous. The road to
Yeah, yeah,
success is mundane. It's the doing the
yeah,
same thing. And I mean, I think this sets you. I mean, you can't get into a better mindset and talk about mental performance than what you're talking about right now of having good habits,
yeah,
structuring your day, checking boxes to
yeah.
make sure you're the best self. And man, in baseball, that's hard. That's hard, especially. I mean, I think you're in a good spot where you're not on, 6, 7 hour bus rides right now that would jack you up. But,
Yeah.
eating on the road, you gotta be on point with what you're putting
No,
in your
summer
body.
ball is hard, man. Like, yeah,
Hmm.
like the scheduling piece of things is tough, and you can do as well as you can during that, and then where you really, I feel like, make up ground is the off season, and you just don't miss a beat in the off season, and it propels you through the season.
Yeah. So then Niagara, we're
Yeah, so we're not even close to Niagara yet.
okay. Okay, let's go.
Um,
Let's keep going.
so during that gap year, I played for a post grad team. So I'm playing for the post grad team in the mornings and helping out with youth lessons in the afternoon, and that's where some of the coaching with Travis that came in. Those high school guys were kids on his teams. But
Do
so
you know
anyway,
his? Do you know his boys?
I know Will a little bit, and I coached on Drew's team
Okay, cool.
for a couple tournaments. But yeah, they're great kids, man.
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
terrific ball players.
yeah.
So yeah, I helped do the coach player tandem thing.
Hmm.
We played some games, like exhibition games during the college season that year. We were in a college program, but we played some exhibition game type things against JUCOs and whatnot, and did well during those, well enough for their connections to say, reach out to one of their guys in the Northwoods, get me on a temp contract there for that
Sweet.
summer. So between those exhibition games and some of that video and then the Northwood stuff, I got the chance to get a little bit of interest and ended up going to a junior college called Wabash Valley, which is
Oh
in
wow.
Mount Carmel, Illinois. They're very highly nationally ranked year to year,
Hmm.
but they are in maybe the worst location in America.
Yeah.
No disrespect to Wabash, to anyone listening out there.
Man, I
I'm
just think
a Wabash guy.
I,
They'll agree with me, man. The program,
I just feel like everybody needs to go through JUCO. Like I
yeah,
just feel like
yeah.
everybody needs to play JUCO ball. I played in North Texas at
I was gonna
Grayson.
say you were a JUCO
I
guy.
played yeah, I played at Grayson County College.
Yeah, yeah,
And we were all, Grayson's always been on the map, but what a terrible town. And again,
yeah,
no disrespect to anybody from
yeah.
Sherman or
No,
Denison. I lived there.
right.
We all know it, right?
Yeah, yeah, dude. I'm the same mindset. Like the thing is, if there's a you know high school kid who's asking me like, would you go like, hey, Niagara's calling me, but so are some of these high level JUCOs. Like, what do you think I should do? Like, man, I'd probably tell him to go to Niagara because, like,
Yeah.
that's
It's cozy. It's nice.
that's
Yeah.
well, it's further up the ladder on
Mm-hmm.
where you want to get to. But at the same time, if you do end up going to those JUCO programs, like it gives you a certain something that you don't get anywhere else.
So did you go in and play right away?
At Wabash?
Yeah.
No. So I went in and I was a catcher at the time, remember?
Yeah.
And they saw me and they had this Puerto Rican kid who was throwing 1-7 pop times down to the bag, and
It's
they're like,
pretty
why don't you go try first base?"
good. You can hit. We'll find
And
you a spot.
so I go over to first base, and the guy there who played for him last year was this 6'4", 220, and I'm similar frame, so it's nothing. But he was a baller, and he played. His name's Ryan McCoy. He played at Louisville for the last 3 years,
Okay.
and he hit like 400 for him the year before, and so they were riding with him,
Yeah, of course.
and so as much as amazing as that program was, I ended up transferring at winter break to a different junior college.
Man.
The staff there was great about it. It's a slightly different staff now. The head guy is at Forney, Rob Fournier was the head coach, and he's now at Western Kentucky.
Oh, sweet.
And he understood, and he was great about it. And he's one of my guys. He was one of the first guys to call me when I went in the transfer portal.
Yep.
But so yeah, I ended up going to Arizona Western
Nice.
that spring, junior college in Yuma, Arizona.
Yeah.
Slightly better location than
100%.
Mount Carmel, but not much better.
No,
what
but
was
still, you got the heat, though, bro. Right?
exactly,
You got the
man?
heat.
And that was the thing, man. It's like the facilities were nothing. It was just a field and a cage next to it. But you were on the field every day in January, and it was 75 and sunny, and so that part of it was awesome.
It must have been good for your health too. Like
Yeah.
the health factor of being in a hot spot compared to
Yeah.
Illinois.
Yeah, man. Yeah, especially the mental health. Like that's a real thing. That is a real thing, for me at least. But so that year in JUCO, I didn't play as well as the expectations that
Let me just go back. How did the transfer work for you? So how did that come about? Did you have to go do your own homework? You talking to people? What's up?
Yeah.
How do you find out a team in Yuma needs a first baseman in a sense?
Right. Yeah, it's a good question. So I told the Wabash guys that's kind of where my head was at,
Mhm.
and they're like, yeah, we get it. We can try and help you out.
That's phenomenal.
I can't remember exactly what all the way, because there was there is, as it always is with recruiting, you throw out a lot of different techniques and hope one of them works,
Cool. Yeah.
And so at the time, it was a combination of things that I posted on Twitter, and the Arizona Western I sent them an email. I looked at they're in one of the better JUCO conferences, and if you're in a good conference, you get good eyes on you.
Yep.
So I emailed pretty much all the schools in that conference, and they were one that got back to me, and
if you're playing against Central Arizona, there's going to be people watching.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. And they Arizona Western had a guy the year before that transferred from Wabash that came in and was a starter for him, and sort of like this worked for us last time. So that's how that worked out. Unfortunately, I did not end up being their guy that year. I think I had less than 100 at bats.
Did you play? Did you get to play up at Yavapai?
I did. Yeah.
You hit some bombs there, dude.
Dude,
elevation, short porch. Yeah.
That field is I think the best hitters park in
Oh yeah.
the level of college
I
baseball.
went on a little recruiting trip in my senior high school and hit Glendale, hit Yavapai, hit Central, and
Yeah,
Yavapai was like, "Yep, okay, I'm a
yeah,
left-handed hitter." So those dorms were very, very,
yeah,
I wanted
dude.
to bang them off those all
Yep.
day. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's funny. Whenever someone knows you have a pie, they know you have a pie.
Exactly.
Um, but yeah, so I didn't get to play as well as I would have liked there. I hit over 300, which is great. Obviously, it's fine and good, but struck out a lot and didn't
Mm-hmm.
have power. I had zero homers, like zero bombs, and left-handed first baseman.
Mm-hmm.
That's not doing the job.
Nope.
So out of JUCO that next summer, I had a little bit of low level D1 interest the year before out of the post grad
Okay.
and
Like who?
chose JUCO. Illinois Chicago was the closest one to being reality.
That's a
Um,
big party school, isn't it?
Illinois Chicago, I honestly didn't know anything about their
Mm.
school other than the baseball program.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And it never came to be anything more than just talks.
Okay.
So, but so out at JUCO, I was like, the reason I went JUCO is like, man, if I have little low level D1 interest right now, I go to a top ranked JUCO
Yeah.
and like I'm going to LSU or whatever.
Totally.
And so I get done with JUCO and I'm like, at least give me something as good as what I had before. And it was nothing, man. It was like NAIs in the middle of nowhere that,
Well, you're coming out. I mean, this is post-COVID now, right?
yeah,
So you're
right.
screwed
So
in a sense because we're getting
rosters are,
we're getting fifth-year seniors, we're
yep,
getting turnover, incoming
yep,
freshmen that
yep.
they've recruited for 2 years.
Rosters are super backed up because of that.
Yeah.
And the portal, the way it just worked out,
Mm-hmm.
that stuff was all new and just starting. But so yeah, the portal and rosters are backed up, and people are using mid majors as JUCOs in terms of recruiting,
Yep.
and then rosters are backed up on top of it. So yeah, you're right, it's tough. On top of that, I didn't play that well, so
Yeah.
I was waiting for something that was never probably going to come, looking back on it,
Mm-hmm.
and ended up out. Well, the thing is, I don't regret not taking any of those offers because I would have had to sacrifice so much academically to go to one of those schools. I was a good student, and those schools were like, "Hey, you're all in on baseball to try and make a last ditch hope." And I was like, dude, I'm not. Like, I'm a good student. I'm not going to throw away my education for a last ditch hope.
Yeah. Yeah.
And long story short, I end up in August with nowhere to go. And I call USD. I talk to their dean of biology on the phone, and I'm like, hey, like, can I go back to school here? And I was, I had really good grades or marks, as the Canadians say.
We know what grades are, dude. Relax.
uh, Yeah. So I did really well academically at USD, and so they're like, yeah, we were happy to have you back. They had the same academic scholarship available to
Sweet.
me, and so it worked out all well logistically there. I was still devastated, like I wanted to be playing. And
Yeah.
if you ask my mom, who drove with me from Minnesota to San Diego, on that trip back, she's like, he was not fun to be around, man.
Yeah.
I was in a bad mood for a while there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Cause like I thought that was it, man. I thought the dream was dead. I thought it was hang 'em up.
How old are you at this? How old are you at this point? 19?
No, I'm
No.
21. I'm
Yeah. Yeah.
21.
Okay. 21.
I
Yeah.
turned
Yeah.
21 in JUCO. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, I remember drinking my first beer at
Yeah.
Buffalo Wild Wings in Yuma after a
Yeah.
road trip
Yeah.
to Phoenix. I was like, all right,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Buffalo Wild Wings. Sweet.
yeah. I was like, this is what everyone dreams about their 21st being, right?
Yeah. Some matzo sticks and a
Yeah,
nasty Coors
yeah.
Light. Here we go.
Um, But yeah, so I'm 21 and I'm like, yeah, like I was devastated. And so again at USD, I played club ball and tried to get a walk-on tryout and never did. Um, and played
How did you?
intramural
How come?
softball.
How come they wouldn't let you? Like they're just full. They weren't even looking.
Dude, I don't know. It's a really good question.
Who was the coach? Who was the coach at the time? Because I recruited from USD.
Yeah, so the first time I was there, it was Rich Hill.
Rich Hill. Oh yeah, he's at
Yep,
Hawaii now.
Hawaii now. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you
And
remember
then
Chase? Do you remember Chase Mydroth?
mm-mm.
No, he was there. He was an incoming freshman when he played for me up here. He's with he's in the Red Sox organization now.
Okay.
He's a
He
stud little
he played for Coach Hill.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Coach Hill's a beauty though.
Yeah. No, and he let me use the cages and
Cool.
whatnot.
Hmm.
Like whenever I wanted, like I walked in while they were practicing, I just walked around the warning track and hit off the tee in the cages and stuff.
Sweet. Hmm.
So yeah, all respect to him. Thanks. Um, I remember I would try and take 200 swings a day off the tee in there.
Hmm.
Um, which looking back on it was like probably pretty stupid. Like that, what is that doing me? I was literally just in there swinging the
It's
bat. But like,
keeping you. It's keeping you in the environment, dude.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
what it
and then
really was for you, I
it kept the
think.
motor pattern going and
Yep.
everything, and
Hmm.
it made me feel like I was working at it.
Yeah. Did you wave at the players like, "What's up, bro?" Like you pretended like you're part of the team.
No, I hit with them a couple times. I remember
Go
one
to the
time I
bookstore
was,
and buy all the gear.
dude, no, that gear, man. If you're not getting given it, it is expensive.
Uh
I get.
huh. Yeah.
Um, Yeah. And then the other coach, the second time I was there, was Brock Ungrich.
Oh yeah,
Ungrich.
yeah, yeah.
I'm not sure how you say it.
Yeah. No, I dealt with him too. He
Yeah.
came from New Mexico, I think, or something like that.
Yeah. He
Yeah.
was well. He was the assistant when I went under Hill when I was there.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And like the guys seemed like they loved him too.
Hmm.
So, but again, yeah, like for whatever reason, the walk-on door was never
Yeah.
opened up.
Yeah. Fair.
That stuff happens. Going through the recruiting process this year, I had a few coaches who knew those guys who said they're gonna call them and let them know they messed up.
Dude, you
uh,
know what? It's funny though. I mean, that must seem like a million years ago to you, man. Like that must seem like another life
yeah,
where you are now. And I mean, it happens as a coach. You have things going on. I can tell you a story about. I got a buddy who lives in El Paso who I played with, and he had he had in his facility. Um, uh, what's his name? Ivan Melendez.
okay, yeah,
You know who he is?
yeah,
And he was like, "Hey, I got this kid, Melendez, incoming freshman. Do you want him for summer ball?" And our head coach was like, "Nah, we're good. We're good. We're good."
yeah, yeah,
So now I always send our,
yeah,
our old
yeah,
head coach like, "Hey, check him out, check him out, check him out.
yeah,
We
yeah,
passed on this kid, right?"
yeah.
But
No,
you
like I
don't
don't.
know. You never know.
Yeah, like I don't really blame them because it would have been a risk. But hindsight's 2020, and it was a
Yep.
risk that would have paid
Yep.
off.
Yep.
But probably the only person who believed that at the time was me, and maybe my mom.
Someone's got to. Someone's
Yeah,
got to. I mean, that's how you keep the pedals moving uphill, man. Those
yeah,
pedals that you did a good job of keeping, of just pushing, just slow movement forward. Once
yeah,
you stop moving those, you go backwards. So,
right. Yeah,
okay,
exactly,
so you're there, you're
exactly.
banging balls in the cage. Rich Hill's cool about it. Or
Yep,
no,
yep,
Brock was there the second time.
yep,
Sorry. Yeah.
yep. Yeah, and so played club ball again, played at intramurals.
Hmm.
I did win our intramural softball league. It was a
I
team
hope.
effort, but I
I would.
contributed. Um,
I would hope so. I mean, if you struggled in that league, you'd be take your
yeah,
shoelaces
yeah.
away, bro.
The funny story is, and I've told this story a couple times now with all the Knoxville reporters that are um, all over the transfer portal stuff.
Hmm.
Um, the first game of that intramural league, I showed up with metal spikes,
Yep.
and it's a co-ed intramural college softball game on the football practice field, and they're like, "Dude,
Yeah.
you can't
Yeah.
use metal bikes."
You
I
got
was,
eye
I
black.
was
Just
like, "Yo,
pulling
what?"
down the eye black, right? Yeah. Let's go.
I was like, "I'm trying to drive the baseball, man. What do
Hard.
you mean I
Well,
can't use
I
metal
guess it would be.
spikes?"
I guess it'd be hard 60s, right? Hard
Yeah,
60s. Hard
or
60s.
yeah, I mean, whatever. I don't
Hard
even.
55s. Whatever the bases
Yeah,
are.
I felt bad, dude, because it was co-ed, right? And so you had to have an equal, boys and girls. There was some rule about certain involvement, so you couldn't just,
Yeah.
stack it with you know guys on the football team who were playing intramurals,
Of
or
course.
whatever. But so inevitably they would put, the girl or the guy, whoever has, the least amount of
The
experience or
first.
whatever, they put them on the right side of the field, whether it's right
Yeah.
field or second base, because, everyone just pulls the ball and they're all
Oh,
righties. And
yeah.
I'm a lefty and,
Yeah.
and hit the ball pretty hard, man. So
Uh-huh.
there was one where it was a really close call, this girl playing second base.
Jeez.
And I ended up, I hit righty for a while after that.
Yeah, I
Um,
bet.
Because but it was fun, man,
Yeah,
and like, I look back on those and they're good stories,
I've
especially
actually
now
done
that
this.
it's talked about.
I did this. I did the slow pitch thing, I don't know, 10 years ago, and I just remember rolling over everything. So I was like, okay, I got to stay oppo here. And when I
Yeah,
thought oppo, I ended up hitting bombs to right. Like it was like,
yeah,
oh yeah,
yeah,
that's right. That's how you hit.
yeah, yeah. No, it's a little different than baseball,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Mm-hmm.
but it was fun. So, anyways, that year, no affiliation with the team. Um, Actually, that fall, I get a DM on Twitter from a guy, a general manager in the WCBL up in Canada, the Western Canadian
Yep.
Baseball League,
What team?
and it Brooks Bombers.
Okay,
And
sweet.
so and so it's Jay Wandler, awesome dude. I owe him
Mm-hmm.
a lot. He reaches out, or no, it wasn't even Jay at that time. It was this other guy who was supposed to be their coach who ended up not being their coach.
How did they even find you? Like, what do you got on Twitter that they're DMing you? You know, your
So I
bombs,
was
your slow
trying.
pitch bombs.
The year before, I didn't play summer ball, even though I was trying to. I was supposed to play in the Valley League, and the contract fell through because a pitcher was
Mm-hmm.
supposed to come with me, and he didn't want to, and so they banged my contract too.
Yeah, they
And
need arms. They need arms. They don't
yeah,
need
yeah,
left-handed first basemen who are rolling over.
and exactly, man. And no, what it was this Dominican kid that we had who was
Mm-hmm.
an electric arm, but he wanted to go home. He was living in a different foreign country, like he wanted to go home for the summer. So I don't blame him.
Yeah.
So I was like posting stuff on Twitter trying to find summer ball recruiting the year before,
Mm-hmm.
and somehow or another they found that stuff in like October, I'd say, after that summer while I was at USD, and they reached out and they said, "Hey, Eric, this is whoever with the Brooks Bombers. We were wondering if you had a place to play next summer." And I was like, "No, I don't. I don't have a place to play right now. Like, do you guys know that?" Like, I was like, "Are you guys aware that like I'm not even playing here?" And they're like,
They're probably, you know what? They're probably like, we don't want to know that. We just want to put you down
"Yeah, I
as a
shouldn't have
guy
even told them
coming,
that.
from San Diego on a
Yeah,
roster.
I should exactly.
I know how
That's
the marketing works in summer
that's
ball.
that's exactly I think the case.
Yeah.
And I probably shouldn't have even told them that, but they were like, "Yeah, we don't care, man. We saw what you did, and keep going. We
Yeah.
saw, video of you in the Northwoods and whatever. And it's fine. Like if you know
Yep.
the WCBL, you know that there's a pretty large market gap between some of those teams, and Brooks is
100%.
at the lower end of that,
Yeah.
and so they have a harder time bringing in players to compete with some of the bigger markets.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're like, "Yeah, we like it. We'll take it anyway." And I was like, sweet, man. Like, I don't have anything lined up for this summer anyway. I don't have any clear
So
direction on what
many,
I want.
so many contracts fall through, though. I mean, and that's the thing, right? Like when I was
Yeah,
recruiting, I'm putting 80 on the board in
yeah,
October,
yeah,
November, like pre-Christmas, and then
yeah.
I'm watching those names fall off on their own.
Right,
So
right.
you take what you
Well,
not. It's
and
not you take what
yeah,
you can get, but you gotta be prepared for
yeah,
turnover, big time.
right. And it falls off in the other direction too. I mean, the year before I had two different contracts for summer ball get taken away from me
Yep.
for various reasons. And so the whole time, because I told them, yeah, like I want to play baseball. Like
Yeah.
I thought it was over. Like, heck yeah, this sounds sick.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole time I was like expecting it not to work. I was expecting something to go wrong. And that just got down there and down there and down there. And they were and even through the coaching turnover, the guy that recruited me left and they still kept me on. And
Mm-hmm.
so eternal credit for them for that. Because it was awesome, man. I showed up a couple days late because our finals didn't end until after their season started, but and I had to
Standard
drive
in
up
summer
from
ball.
San Diego
Oof.
to Alberta and played there that summer and had a great summer, man. And there
Mm-hmm.
were a lot of Niagara has a pretty strong Canadian connection. I think we had the most Canadians of any baseball team in the NCAA this year.
Well, Niagara has a strong Canadian connection. An old coach, Mike McRae. I don't know if you heard that name, Coach McRae.
Heard it a couple times, yeah, floating
Yeah,
around.
he was our pit. No, he was an assistant coach when I played on the national team. We're talking 1998, and he's a Canadian guy. So he I think he got that Niagara job a few years after that, and I think that's when they started pumping the Canadians through.
Yeah, yeah. And now Matt Spatafora there, who is our assistant and recruiting coordinator, is also he's from Toronto, so he's got
Yeah,
good
yeah,
Canadian connection.
yeah.
But anyway, so they had a few guys in that league, did really well in that league, caught their eye, and enough so for them to, throw a spot on the team and a little scholarship money my way. And
Sweet.
it's,
Look at
the
that.
fire was restoked.
Look at that. And that's so that must have been a challenging league with the travel.
The
Playing in summer ball.
the Western Canadian baseball league.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's like we
Did you
kind of talked
did you
about
have to go to
before. It
Fort
was
did you have to go to Fort Mac?
Yeah, we did, man.
Yeah,
Not only
yeah.
did we go to Fort Mac, but it was a 4-game series like they usually do, and it was
Uh-huh.
the last 4 games of the season. It was after we'd been eliminated from playoff contention.
Oh.
So nobody went on that trip, man. It was position players throwing. It was
You're bringing
yeah,
high school juniors, whoever you can get to put a
yep,
uniform on at
yeah,
that point.
exactly.
Yeah.
We had a bunch of
Uh-huh.
high schoolers. Yeah, yeah. But again, man, good story. It's got some funny
Yeah.
ones from the trip.
Yeah.
But man, honestly, the travel other than that wasn't too terrible. Like it was like we talked about earlier. It's standard summer ball. It's not
Yeah.
glamorous.
I'm
It's
just
not.
curious with your health, and getting out of
And,
schedule and getting out of whack.
yeah. So that's a good question, man. And summer ball has always been a little tougher than school ball for that reason. And it's not
Yeah.
because of the schedule so much as it is the living situations. Like it's man, everyone who's gone through it knows it's hard to get settled into someone else's house that you don't know,
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
the billet families and the host families. And man, it sounds like it shouldn't make that big of a deal, but man, having
Well,
your room set up the way
it's a
you want it,
bed.
it gets man,
Everything.
at my apartment at school this year, I had it so that it got dark in there. I didn't have any charging lights on or whatever. I
Mm-hmm.
had the fan where I wanted it. Everything
Mm-hmm.
was right, It
Yeah.
was I fell asleep like that at the right time and woke up without an alarm at the right time because I was just grooved.
Yeah.
Everything was, in summer ball, you don't have that, man. It's the place I'm in right now, man. He's trying
Yeah.
to
You got
sell his house right now.
parrots
Yeah,
squawking at
yeah,
you. Yeah.
dude. I've got this cat. There's this cat that lives upstairs. I think he said it's 18 years old, and
Yeah.
it may be going I don't think it really knows what's going on, and it will it sounds like a haunted
Oh.
that it sounds like a human baby crying,
Oh
honestly,
man.
and it will 3 a.m. just start up and won't stop for 2 hours, and you can hear it like it's in your ear. So
Welcome to the MLB draft league, kids.
yeah, I've been sleeping
It's so cool to hear, boots on the ground kind of thing, because
yeah,
everyone just uses social media and it's like, wow, cool.
right,
Yeah, it
right,
is cool, but you ain't there yet.
yeah, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I've been sleeping with the earplugs and then my headphones
Mm-hmm.
over the earplugs.
Yeah, man.
Um,
How's your bed?
so
Is it comfy?
dude, it's fine, but
Oh,
it smells like cat
yeah.
urine, to be honest.
Okay. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
so,
Yeah.
it is what it is, and it's this isn't a long summer season, so because it ends at the draft.
Oh, sweet. So
So
you're week
yeah,
one.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly. We got 4 games
Nice.
left.
Cool.
Finish strong, figure that stuff out, and go from there. Um,
So
but yeah,
Niagara. So you got some
yeah,
dough, Niagara. Here we go.
yeah.
Did you roll in and just start or what?
Yes, I mean, well, again, the boots on the ground stuff, man. I showed up. The house that they had for us was not in. The landlord showed up and this isn't in livable condition. And
Oh,
the roommate who I had who got there before me was like, this place is a dump, man. We're not gonna
yeah.
live here. And so we lived in a hotel for the first 10 days of class, I think.
All right.
Going to class and trying to find a place. And we ended up finding a house that worked well and was affordable and was a good spot and everything. So
Mm-hmm.
everything worked out there. But then, yeah, you get into school and it's a D1 schedule, and as I was a bio major with transfer credits, and as everyone knows, man, the transfer stuff doesn't always carry over
No.
properly. And I knew that based on my
Especially,
situation.
hey man, you're speaking to a lot of Canadian audience here.
Yeah,
Transfer credits don't mean
yeah,
anything
yeah,
sometimes.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's tough, man. And every school has different requirements, right? So I ended up taking 3 or 4 English classes over my time in college as a bio major.
The bio major. Yeah. Well.
Like what are we doing, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, like I knew that
Was
it was
ChatGPT around yet, or what? Could you utilize that?
ChatGPT was around. I mean, it was around long before I started utilizing it, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I got into it this year, man. That thing, like the
Yeah.
one thing that's really cool for as a science major is you can
Yeah.
say, find me studies about this, and it will
Oh,
find them
cool.
and cite them for you, you know, and then you can go read the
What
study.
a time saver.
Yeah, no, for real. Like search scrolling around PubMed or whatever is
Yeah.
not the easiest thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, But yeah, so I knew it was going to serve me best to graduate this year because that with the transfer rules changed actually this year, so it didn't make as big of a difference. But
Mm-hmm.
I get my degree. B, it makes me a grad transfer, which not only at the time was the only way I could legally transfer, but also the easiest way to transfer. Like getting into these athletic programs as a grad student, it's a lot easier for the school to find a way
Yeah.
for that to work out when
Right.
you're a grad student. So I knew I like graduating was a must for me this year. And in order to do that with the transfer stuff, I had to be 18 credits both semesters and then take
Oh
2
boy.
classes in the summer. And man, let
God.
me tell you, taking 18 biology credits with 2 labs and research time
How
while
did that affect?
playing,
How did that affect baseball?
I was
Like,
going to
how
say,
did you?
while playing a Division One schedule is probably the hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
Wow.
And because man, like the bio professors don't give a they don't care about
No.
they're like, hey, like biology is what you're here to do, right? So like why aren't you in the lab right now? It's like, man, because I
Yeah.
was on campus for 3 days this week because we went and
Because I
played
rake.
South Carolina. Yeah.
You know.
Um dude, we had so a senior seminar class that we had, the guy would call people up in front of the class, like he'd take volunteers and ask them through their career path stuff. I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do it, you know.
Oh my gosh.
And
They must have been like,
and
okay, we'll continue this tomorrow.
And he was like, so like, what do you think? What are you trying to do? Goals after college? And I was like, play professional baseball. And and he looked at me and was like, I can't even remember exactly what he said, but he phrased it with such a tone that was like, shut up, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my response to him was, I think what I said was, the kind of players that make it to professional baseball look like me, or ones like me, or something like that. I can't remember exactly what I said. I don't want to come off like arrogant or whatever, but like what I was trying to tell him earnestly was that like, hey man, the guys that make it are they like big lefties who hit the ball far. Like
Mhm.
this is not an ignorant, arrogant decision making process of me. Like I came to Niagara. Like if I wanted, like the USD degree was probably a little better, like if like when I came to Niagara, I was bought in baseball. I did it as a baseball decision,
Yep.
and so I was all in on the baseball aspect of it, and that's what I was trying to explain to him, and he wasn't on board with it. So whoever Bert, wherever he's at now,
Suck it,
hopefully
Bert.
he's rooting for me. Yeah. Um, but yeah, man, like balancing that schedule was tough, and fortunately, I was able to play pretty well through it. I honestly, what I did is I let the academics take the hit more than the baseball. Like if it was 10 p.m. and I had an assignment that I needed to do um, that night or whatever, I would just go to sleep and hope the professors would understand and get it done later type deal.
Gotcha.
And that's not always the best route. Like if there's other students out there listening, I'm not saying like just blow off your schoolwork. I like I worked my ass off in school. I'm not sure if what I can say
You,
here.
you,
Sorry.
you're fine. You're
Um,
fine. Yeah, you're good.
but
I
you
had a
know,
kid on yesterday who was wearing me out. Yeah, you're fine.
but yeah, like I put in the work academically. Like I was a really good, like if you want to go look up the GPA or whatever on the Eagles website, you can. But like it was really really good, and so I was able to afford myself a little bit
Yeah.
of kind of you know prioritizing baseball during that season semester. Um, and so, yeah, that was the way I handled it, and it ended up working out really well. And see, that brings us to this summer where entered the transfer portal
We entered
because
the transfer portal after like wearing it out. Like you hit a ton of
Yeah.
bombs.
Yeah.
You won some, you won an award.
Hmm.
You didn't just go out and you weren't just average, right? Like
Yeah.
you
No,
did some
no.
damage.
Yeah. Um, was I hit over 400 every for the entire season until the last game when
Yeah.
I went 1 for 4 and ended at 396.
Oh,
I
dude.
don't I don't look at stats during the season at all because
Mhm.
I like them too much and I'll get too into them. So I wait until the end of the year and man, all year like family friends were sending me like pictures on Twitter or whatever of my
Well,
stats,
it's got to be
and
hard
I
with
would like
social
cover it
media.
up with my hand,
Yeah.
and try and read what they said and just say, "Oh, thanks,"
Yeah.
Um, and so there were a couple times when I like caught glimpses of them, but really I tried to stay away from them as much as possible.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, so yeah, hit really well. 17 homers, conference player of the year, like did really well. The team made it to a regional, which is huge, man, because that gets more eyes on you and shows that you can do it at a different level.
Which regional were you at?
We played in Stillwater,
Oh,
Oklahoma State.
sweet. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah. But so yeah, man, like, dude, especially like I didn't have the best conference tournament, I wasn't on the all tournament team or anything like that. So the like and playing in that regional meant a lot in terms of reputation and notoriety and everything. And so like I owe a lot to my team for getting like I didn't carry us through that tournament at all, man. Like it was the other way around.
Yeah.
They played their asses off and I'm eternally grateful for that team for those opportunities. But then yeah, played in the regional and then unfortunately make an early exit, but get
So
enough done during
then
the
you
season,
ju-
make some
then you,
noise.
then you jump in the portal.
Yep, yep. And that was pre-decided. I the coaches knew that I was going into the portal before the season even started, um, because Niagara doesn't have any sort of grad school that I want to do.
Mhm.
And so it was they they knew they were getting me for a year, and they were taking a risk on me too, man. Like the stat lines, like it wasn't much to go on. They were going on what they saw in that summer league and what their guys had talked about me in that summer league. And so they were like, yeah, man, like we'll take you for a year. Hopefully it works out. And it did work out really well for me and for the program.
Yeah.
Um,
Say so.
so then, went into the portal and immediately had the most hectic couple days of my life, fielding phone
Mhm.
calls and whatnot. And then, kind of weed through all of because there's a lot at first, man. When you first jump in, there's like everyone sounds like they're super interested and they're not always super interested. And so you kind of take your time with that stuff and the right decision becomes clear. And so I narrow it down and ended up going on a couple of visits. And
Where'd you
uh,
go?
so I went to Wake Forest and then Tennessee. And I went to Wake Forest and I was like, this place is awesome, man. These coaches are awesome. And
Mhm.
like, it was the hardest place for me when I called. And when I committed to Tennessee and when I called them, it was definitely the toughest of any of the conversations to have was to tell the Wake guys no because they're awesome, man.
Yeah.
And their response too on the phone made me think even higher in the program because they said, we're fired up for you. We hope you get drafted so we don't see you in Omaha or whatever.
Totally.
And if you ever need anything from us, reach out. Like we love getting to know you. We're still be in contact with you.
Great.
So like, yeah, man, the highest respect to that program. Um, but yeah, man, like I took the visit to Tennessee and wanted to make a decision before the draft for, leverage reasons, obviously. And, it was a no-brainer. Like Tennessee was the spot. It was an easy decision.
Well, I mean, look at everything going on, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
insane. It's so
Yeah.
cool.
It really is, man. And I'm from Minnesota, right? And I was the same graduating class in high school as Drew Gilbert.
Yeah.
He was different high schools, but obviously he's a Tennessee rock star, first rounder out of there a couple of years ago. And so like I'd been a fan of their program for a long time, man. Like, before the Natty, before the, consecutive Omaha years, like,
Hmm.
and then so all that stuff on top of it to me was just a testament that to everything that they said that they did, like they must be doing it because that stuff's working. And so I knew they weren't lying to me. And
You have to be a Peyton Manning fan. Like, is that a prerequisite?
yeah, something like that. And a Morgan Wallen one too, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Um, Yeah, man, I looked at we were at out to dinner on the visit, and I look over at and Tony's on his phone there. He's texting Peyton Manning.
Oh, dude,
That's kind of crazy.
that's so cool, man. That's cool. That's just what a story. And now, okay, so you're locked in, ready to roll. You got your Vols hat on now,
hmm
and you got an agent, you got all the advisors, you got all
Yep,
that going
yep,
on.
yep.
What's the word? Like, tell me where you're at. Well,
Yeah.
what's the
So
talk?
the way it sounds for me, draft options right now, like the age is the biggest knock, right? So a lot of the area scouts like me and everything, but no one's going to sink a lot of money into a guy as old as me.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so from the sounds of it, it's going to be like, they're trying to save money in the later day two rounds. They might go
Mm-hmm.
for me and underslot me big time. I mean, I'm assuming kind of people are somewhat familiar with the whole process.
They can
Um,
Google it.
yeah. Um,
It changes every year. There's always something new
yeah,
going on.
essentially the team is trying to save money by paying me less because I'm
Yep.
older.
Yep.
Yeah. So it sounds like it'll be something like that, or something on day three of just kind of like take a flyer on the kid type deal. And
So
with the
you're
new,
so I mean you could potentially look at like who's getting over slot money in the second day, et cetera, and go, okay, there's a good chance they're gonna take me.
yeah, I could look at that, or I could just try and
You
keep
probably
my
won't
mind up.
though.
Yeah.
I
I'm gonna
will. I
be
I definitely will be now.
Yeah, I'm gonna be actually driving home during the draft.
Yeah.
So like it'll give me the ability to be by my phone and pick up when I need to.
Mm-hmm.
But it'll also prevent me from just like scrolling through Twitter or whatever.
Totally.
Um, yeah, because man, the stress is building big time.
I'm gonna
Um,
I'm gonna wear you out. I'm gonna text you. It's like, nope. I'm just gonna send you X's every round. X.
but dude, yeah, so like this decision coming up, man, like it's a hard one. It's a really, really hard one.
So who
And
do you have on your team right now that's helping you with this decision? Obviously, you know better than anybody. It takes a village to
yeah,
get to this
so
place
so
you're at.
I've been exhausting my Rolodex for the advice on this. So first and foremost, you got my advisor,
Mhm.
Mark Meisner. He's a great guy. He's helped me out a bunch. He's helped me out with this summer ball gig. He's helped me out get workouts, get
Cool.
hookups.
Yeah.
He's a man. So he's more importantly than any of that, he has
Did you
been
break
in
some
the
wood? Did you break
yeah.
some wood bats right away or what?
No, I actually haven't broken one all
Oh
summer, and
wow, good for you.
it's everyone. I said that the other day, and everyone's like, "Oh, you're about to break one now," and
Yeah.
I'm a
Usually how
big
it goes,
I'm a
right?
big anti-believer, like a reverse believer or whatever in the superstitious stuff. So I made
Mhm.
it my rally, my
Just catch
war
barrels.
cry or whatever. Like, yeah, I didn't break one. I'm still not gonna break one. That's my motto
hmm
right now. So when I inevitably do, I'll have to eat my words. But
Yep.
so far so good. But yeah, so I got him. I have the coaching staff here on this summer ball team. Ryan Hannigan, he's a 12-year big league vet.
Yep.
Another guy on the staff played I think 8 years in the minors.
Cool.
Um, there's a guy back home who helps out with the club ball facility who graduated from my local high school, who got drafted first round by the Dodgers out of Jacksonville University. His
hmm
name's Chris Anderson.
hmm
He's helped. I talked to Drew Gilbert on the phone about it a couple times. I've talked to the Tennessee coaches about it. Um, I talked to a guy, Griffin Merritt, who was a Tennessee player. Not obviously this season on the national team, but the year before it, who was the same kind of deal, a 1 year transfer at Tennessee, who turned down kind of small money in the draft to go to Tennessee. So
hmm
very similar situation to me. I talked to him this morning actually. That's who I was on the phone with
Okay.
before this.
Cool.
Um, who else, man? Like
Yeah, it goes on and on. Like
that might cover
it's
it. But yeah, I've been
and then
everyone's
you got your family and you got your emotional support. You got your
yeah,
feeling of
yeah,
comfort. You
yeah.
got because you're kind of alone, in this weird house with birds and shit, right? So it's
Yeah.
you're kind of, what? It's kind of a lot of distraction, kind of helpful in a sense, I would think. Like
with all the animals.
all the
Yeah.
animals, you're like Ace Ventura, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so I assume you can talk to anybody till the cows come home, I guess I could say.
Yeah.
But you don't know until you get a call and there's a decision to make, right? You
Right.
can speculate, you can prep, you can do everything, but I think it comes down to similar of like getting ready for a game. It's like, okay, I got
Yeah.
to take a breath here and I got
Yeah.
to walk this through properly. So
And the other thing that you have to keep in mind with this situation, this is something that Griffin was telling me on the phone this morning, um, is that like, especially when you look at from where I've come, like these are two of the best possible outcomes that I could ever dreamed of.
yeah, you think?
And they're not, neither one of them, they're both so much better than anything else I could have imagined. And so like, it's not so much about stressing over making the right choice and making sure you get it right. But what he was saying was make the choice and then make the choice right. Like
Yeah,
once you make that decision, like
be all
go
in.
all in
Yeah,
and
be
it'll
all in.
work out because they're both good choices. And if you
Well, you've
everything you got into the one that you make, it'll be the right choice.
I think I think you can look back on your decisions and you've been all in on everything, whether it be wearing spikes to intramural, softball, you're all in, to playing for Brooks, Niagara, everywhere you went, everything you've done, you've had that mindset. And man, it's huge. This is real cool. It's real cool. We'll wrap it up here because I'm gonna post this week so people can hear this before the draft. This is gonna be
Nice.
cool. This is a nice one. So, um, last piece here, Bob. I started this podcast in a sense for high school players, high school parents, people
Yep.
trying to, kind of in the maze of travel ball and recruiting and not knowing what to do with everything going on. Like there's so much going on for kids now. What's the one piece of advice you could give high school players listening right now?
Yeah. So looking back at my time in high school, I mean, I don't know if I can narrow it down to one, but I'll give you kind of the brief,
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
collective advice that I would say. First off, where you're at in high school does not have to define your endpoint at all. Obviously, for the guys who are going first round out of the draft in high school, that's great for them.
Yep.
Congratulations. I'm sure they earned it. But dude, I was not even on. I played 2 years of varsity, junior, senior year. I was not on the top teams in that age between like little league and high school. I was on like the mid-level teams.
Mm-hmm.
Like the career's not over at that point. There's still a lot of growth that can be done. And so what I would say is that if you actually are really fired up about baseball and like everyone says like, oh, if you really love it, you'll work hard and find a way to make it. But it's like it really honestly is like if you feel like going to the field is like and trying to get to where you want to be is like a chore kind of deal. Like and it feels like, oh man, I'd rather just be at the lake with my friends right now. I'd rather be this. Like, dude, that's awesome, man. There are a lot of like my cousin is took that whole route that I was talking about with like going to that same college that everyone goes to, and now man, he's married and has a job and is probably
Love
happier
life.
than I am. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
so I'm like, that's awesome. That really is awesome. Do not press through it if it feels like you're having to grind through it. But on the flip side, if you do love showing up to the field every day that bad, then keep doing it because eventually, if you stack the days on top of each other, you'll pass up the people who fall off. Like you will. It's
Yeah.
baseball's way too long of a game for that not to be true. That's not me saying if you do that, you'll give yourself a chance. That's me saying if you do that and you go after it every day like that, truly, you will pass up
Process. It's all
a certain
process.
amount of
It's
people.
just
Yeah,
process, right?
yeah, yeah. And
Amazing.
and I would say don't be afraid to be the don't be afraid to be the square who goes to bed early, who buys in more to that stuff than to the social part of the stuff. I mean, dude, like on the road this year, it was no one wanted to be my roommate because I went to bed at 9:30, and they were like every time they read out the names on the bus who's rooming, and they'd be like, oh, with Matt,
Ah,
whoever, it would be like, oh, like Hey Mink, you're going to bed at 9:30.
Hey man, I learned real quick. Nothing good happens late at night.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Nothing good happens late at night. Eric, I really appreciate you coming on, man.
Yeah,
All the best. Good luck. I'll stay in touch, man. But
yeah, for sure.
love to chat to you after the draft too, and
Yeah,
depending, we'll see.
right,
Maybe
right.
I'll give you a minute, but again, thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it, and good luck in your last 4 games. And yeah, we'll be thinking of you, buddy.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it.
I'm just gonna stop this and just stay on for 1 sec, okay?
For sure.
It just has to upload.